Have you ever wondered how a tiny local business just explodes? Well, today we're going to unpack the incredible journey of an Indian grocery chain called KPN Fresh. It's a fantastic story of starting on the street and ending up in the boardroom. But first, let's just start with a number: 800 crore rupees. That's what KPN Fresh was valued at in 2023. I mean, that is a massive figure. But believe me, the story of how they got there is even more impressive.
So that's really the big question we're tackling today, isn't it? How on earth does a single fruit cart, a push cart, grow into a corporate giant worth 800 crore? Let's dig in and unpack the strategy that made it all happen.
To answer that, we have to go way back, all the way back to the very beginning, to its push cart origins.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1965. The whole story kicks off with two brothers, R. Natarajan and his brother, on the streets of Coimbatore. They've got a single push cart. That's it. No venture capital, no fancy business plan, just hard work and fresh fruit.
And their journey spans almost 60 years. This was no overnight success. They went from that push cart in '65 to opening their first store, then formally incorporating in 2012, and then boom, securing that game-changing investment in 2023. It's a story of slow, steady, and really smart evolution.
So, what was the spark? What was that big idea that took them from a push cart to an actual store? It was something so simple, but for the time, it was absolutely revolutionary.
To really get why their idea was so brilliant, you have to picture the kind of market they were in. It's what's called an unorganized market. Just imagine going to buy fruit where you have to haggle for everything. Prices are all over the place, and you're never really sure if you're getting a fair deal or even good quality. It's stressful.
And this is where they were geniuses. They completely disrupted the system. They got rid of all the haggling and guesswork and replaced it with fixed, fair pricing based on weight. Simple, right? But suddenly you knew exactly what you were paying for. This one simple change built trust, it removed all that uncertainty, and customers, well, they loved it. It was an absolute game changer.
Now that idea was a fantastic start, but to grow for decades, you need more than that. You need a solid business model. So what was KPN's recipe for success?
It really comes down to two main pillars. First, they went straight to the source, to the farms themselves. And second, they totally focused on being a convenient, local presence right in people's neighborhoods. Let's break those two things down.
Okay, so sourcing directly from farms, this was incredibly powerful. By cutting out the middlemen, they could guarantee fresher, higher quality produce that also meant lower costs, which of course they could pass on to customers as lower prices. And just as important, it built these amazing, strong relationships with the farmers. It was a true win-win-win for everybody.
Now for that second pillar, neighborhoods. See, their strategy wasn't about building these giant impersonal superstores. Instead, they created this dense network of smaller, super accessible neighborhood shops. They became the go-to local store, a convenient, reliable part of the community fabric.
So that model worked beautifully for decades. But recently, KPN Fresh turned a huge corner. They entered a brand new chapter, making the shift from a family business to a full-on corporate powerhouse.
And this brings us right back to that massive valuation we started with. In 2023, the investment firm Westbridge Capital saw all of this incredible potential and acquired a majority stake in the company. This was the moment KPN officially hit the big leagues. This wasn't just a cash injection. It was a fundamental shift. It totally professionalized the company, getting it ready for national and, hey, maybe even international expansion. The family's amazing legacy was now ready to scale up in a huge way. So, when we step back, what are the big takeaways from this incredible story? Well, first, a simple idea like fair pricing can totally revolutionize an entire market. Second, if you focus relentlessly on quality and value, you build a kind of trust that lasts for generations. And finally, that smart, strategic growth can turn even the most humble beginnings into a corporate powerhouse.
The KPN Fresh story really points to a larger trend we're seeing: huge investment firms backing these beloved local businesses. And it leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As this global capital starts to merge with deep local know-how, what exactly is the future of the neighborhood store?